On today's episode of Regen Automotive, we're going to diagnose a violent noise my Infiniti G37 was making, and then we're going to fix it. My name is Jeremy, this is Regen Automotive, and let's get to work. Okay, so I will give you a bit of background on the noise. I kind of knew right away that it was like a steering or suspension noise. My suspicion was a ball joint. And I could tell because like when I was turning the wheel and when I was going over bumps, it was kind of like creaking at the start and it just progressively gotten worse. And I'll show you where it's at now. It's really bad. So I'm glad we're finally addressing this. So I'll set you up. We'll replicate the noise and then we'll lift up the car and investigate where it's coming from. So I have the camera set up on the driver's wheel. Like I said, that's where I could hear the noise coming from. And then I'm going to jump in the car and turn the wheel back and forth so you can hear the noise I was hearing. So I've been earning, if that's the right word, earning for an excuse to get a big set of channel lock pliers like these. I've wanted these for a long time, but I didn't really have any reason to buy them until now. And for pretty much this exact reason is why I wanted them, but they've actually come in handy in a lot of other instances. So I'm glad I got these. I actually ended up waiting till they're on sale. I think they're normally like 60 or 80 bucks at my local tool supply, and I got them for 40 or something. So totally worth it. But what I use them for is I had a metal on metal screeching sound. So I just wanted to check for play in all of my tapered metal on metal joints. So I just set the channel lock so it's big enough to check my upper ball joint, squeeze it a couple times. That seemed pretty tight. Same story with the tie rod end. Squeezing it, it's like really stiff. I don't feel or hear any play there. And then the last joint I checked was my lower ball joint, and this is what I saw. You could hear that squeaking sound, and that's quite a bit of play. So my lower ball joint is going on this car. And unfortunately, you can't service the ball joint on the control arm, like buy the separate arm. I had to buy the whole arm assembly, which is unfortunate because the rest of the joints or the bushings did look okay. But like I said, you couldn't service the ball joint. There's no way to clip it out. It's kind of like cast into the arm. So I had to order the whole arm. That kind of hurt a little bit, 220 bucks versus when you get like just a ball joint, a good quality ball joint's usually like 40 or 50 bucks, and it's going to be a lot more work to replace. Since I'm just replacing the one control arm, if I did my usual fast forward montage, it'd probably be like a 5-6 minute video. So I figured I'm going to mix up the style a little bit and do a little self-made auto where I take you along for the ride and just kind of go through the whole process of me replacing the control arm. So the first step I need to do is take off this cross brace. And yeah, if you watch my previous video on this car, 5 things I hate. One of my complaints was how rusty this brace is with some other stuff in the car. Like you can see the exhaust here, that there. But I guess it's not totally the car's fault because you can see just the amount of salt that's built up on this cross brace. But I may, I was gonna say I may or may not put it back on. I mean, obviously it's functional, but like I don't care about the handling that much because I just street drive it. But it does have 2 bolts that goes into that big bushing in the control arm. So that's why I'm removing it in the first place. So probably will keep it, but I will rinse it off. And then I have some, what the hell's it called? Fluid film. So I'll probably spray this whole thing with fluid film. So anyway, to do that, I'm going to take the plastic panel off here with a couple 10 mils. We got a trim clip, and then we'll get this cross brace off. Yeah, it's rusted right through there. I really don't want to put this rusty thing back on the car, but I don't know what choice I have. Oh boy, don't strip that guy out. Well, stripped itself out there. Good thing we're replacing that control arm where those threads go into. I bet you that's steel threads in an aluminum control arm. That's why that's so tight in there. Okay. I think that should be loose enough to get the control arm off here. Again, it really bugs the hell out of me how freaking rusty and salty everything is under here, but what can I do besides quit being so cheap and buy a newer car that's not as rusty? So next up, I'm going to work on the tie rod end here with my two main bushing bolts. And then afterwards, I think I'll get the strut bolt out. And then I'll lift the car up and do the sway bar bolt. And then I will work on the ball joint bolt afterwards. And then there's one big bolt on this side that I'll have to use. I might be able to get my tool in there actually. Get the cotter pin out of the tie rod here. Don't smash your hands on the body. Maybe get the cotter pin out. That's in there. I had a feeling that would shear off if I grabbed it with those big pliers I was just showing off earlier, but that's all right. I'll just cut it down and then take a punch and just punch it through there. And then obviously we have lots of replacements here at the shop. There you go. Now it's going. Okay. Now my punch is stuck in there. Okay. Now that we got that punch out of the pin, I can't multitask. The punch out of the hole in the tie rod there, we're going to break this tie rod loose. Came right off, which is good, but let's tap that with a hammer. Keep that on, tap that with a hammer, and hopefully break that taper between the tie rod and the control arm easily. That is loud, so I'm going to get some hearing protection on. Well, another reason why I started recording this is because I was going to say at the start of the video, it's either going to take half an hour for the whole control arm or 3 hours. No in between. It looks like we're going to be at a 3-hour job here. So I'm going to lower the car, turn the wheel so I can get a better angle at it and get a bigger hammer. I just realized all that work to get that tie rod end off and is attached to the steering knuckle, but that's okay. I think it's actually kind of handy to have that steering knuckle turning freely about that ball joint. So like now we have access to our lower strut bolt, and then I get these two guys off, and I think that will be in handy once we get to that lower ball joint. So first off, 17 mil to get this lower strut nut off. And I have a feeling it's gonna be pretty loud. All these steel bolts in the aluminum control arm. Although this is steel on steel, but this is steel on aluminum. So anyway, long story short, I put on my hearing protection because it's probably gonna be pretty loud. Let's see here. This setup is kind of nice actually, because to separate it, I'm going to take that bolt off so the control arm moves freely, and then I'm going to loosen that nut, and then I should be able to just bash right on it from the bottom, avoiding the brake dust shield, but just bash on it to break that ball joint loose out of that knuckle. So let's see what happens here. Oh, easy. That came out first pop, guys. That's awesome. I thought that was going to be a pain in the tail. That is great. Okay, so I got the one control arm bolt off. That actually wasn't too bad. That came off, and here's our last two bolts. And then I take that ball joint bolt off, and I think it's coming out. This knock-on aluminum actually hasn't been as bad as I expected, but let's we'll celebrate once I get it out and we want in. So let's get these two 19 mils here. Yeah, so that one's seized, so probably number one. That one's good. Let's try this one more time. Oh, there you go. Okay, that got loose. That's good. Yeah, the control arm's coming out, so I'm going to take this ball joint bolt off and shoot. Actually, I might need to take this off completely. Maybe not. I might be able to swing that out of the way. Let's see. So the ball joint is not going to clear that axle. I should have thought of that earlier, but that's okay. So yeah, I'm going to take this axle nut off, pop the axle out, and then I'll be able to swing the steering knuckle out of the way, and then that'll give me room to get the control arm in and out. We got a slight change of plans here. This guy is just jammed in between everything. The steering rack here, sway bar link on the other side, steering knuckle, CV axle. I think if I force it, I could get it out, but I don't want to do that. And then I have to worry about getting the new one in. So I've gone this far. I'm just going to take this whole steering knuckle off. Like, it's literally held on by my upper control arm there. I'm going to take the brake lines off, the ABS sensor, leave that with the car, like the caliper I'll hang on the strut. And then I already have my axle nut loose, so I should be able to just take this whole brake caliper pad knuckle assembly off, and then that'll give me all the room in the world to swing this control arm out and the new one in. So let's just do that. All that work for one freaking ball joint. This is why I don't like well, this isn't European, but it seems like a European control arm design and just kind of more complicated cars. They're just a pain in the butt to work on sometimes. Like, versus if this was my Yukon, I probably would have had just the ball joint change in like an hour or something. It's been 2 hours. So let's see if I can beat my predicted 3 hour time and get this back in an hour. Well, that wasn't the easiest process. It wasn't too bad, actually. Once I kind of knew how everything went back together. It's been an hour and 20 minutes. So yeah, it took me about 2 hours, maybe just under 2 hours to take it apart, and then an hour and 20 minutes to put it back together. So yeah, pretty much as I expected, 3 hour job. I knew this wouldn't be easy. That's why I brought you guys along with me. But if I knew the procedure, and again, that's on me to, like, you know, sometimes I just look at the part and just take off what I need to take off, or what I think I need to take off. But I'm sure if I looked at like a mechanics software, they'd probably tell you to take the whole knuckle off. So that would have saved me some time. But anyway, let's drop it back on the ground and see if it's making noise. Fingers crossed. So as you heard, there's a little bit of clicking, but definitely not like the violent screeching sound we had before. So I'm calling that fixed. Obviously, it's much better than how it was before. Yeah, it's pretty much it. I'm done with this. I got reminded how dirty and salty it is, so I think I'm gonna take it to get a wash after this video. So thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and have a good day.